Hey guys, in this video, I'll be teaching you everything you need to know about JavaScript destructuring. In case if you don't know me, my name is Anjan. I'm a full stack web developer, blogger, and instructor of Kills Coding YouTube channel, where I teach full stack web development, data structure algorithms, and many more. So subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of the cool stuff. I've already written a blog post about it on killscoding.space. You can use this for your future reference. Just follow the link on the description. Alright guys, I have a basic index.js file set up. Also the node server is running, which will run my code. If you want to use browser console, that's fine. So first of all, I will just paste an object here. Okay, so this is our object called names, which is storing some names. Now, if I ask you to print out all of the values from the names object without any kind of loop, how would you do this? You would do something like this. You would do console.log, then names, then using the dot notation, you will use a key. So let's save the file. Okay, it works, but it's not a good code. Because if you want to use the same value multiple times, then you always have to use the dot notation. But we can do better. So instead of using the dot notation every time, we can store the values inside variables. So here's how to do it. So we are just creating some variables and storing the values inside those variables. And if you do this, you don't have to use the dot notation multiple times. You can reuse these variables. But it still kind of sucks because you have to write variable declaration statements every time. What if we can write all of this code in one line? Yes, we can do this thanks to the JavaScript destructuring. So here's how to do it. I will just delete all of this. So first just type const or let, whatever you want. Then use the curly braces. Then just equal sign. And the object name, which is names. Now inside these curly braces, you have to specify the keys that you want to pull out from the names object. So in this case, I want Zane and Halsey. So if I just console log Zane and Halsey, you can see on the console that Zayn Malik and Halsey has been printed out. Now what is happening here? Inside these curly braces, we have passed the keys that we want from the names object, and JavaScript has declared variables with the same name as our keys, and those variables are storing the values of those keys. So we have passed Zayn and Halsey, so JavaScript has created two variables, Zayn and Halsey, and Zayn and Halsey is storing the values of Zayn and Halsey key. And this is called JavaScript destructuring. And you can also use array destructuring, and more on a bit later. So let's learn more about JavaScript destructuring and what we can do with this. So if you don't want the variable name as same as the key, you can change that. The way you do this is after the key name, you use colon, then you give the new variable name. So I will call it Zayn Malik. Okay, so if I save the file, now Zayn does not exist. Zayn is not defined. So I will just console log Zayn Malik. So if I save the file, now Zayn Malik and Halsey has been printed out. So this is how you rename the variables. Okay, so what about nested destructuring? Yes, you can do this. Let me just remove all of this code. I will paste another object. Okay, this is another object called Taylor, and it has name property, age property, and it also has an address property, which is an object which has the city property and the country property. So if you want to destructure only the city and the country property, you can do this, and it is fairly simple. So const again, then curly braces from Taylor. Now if you just put address here, you will be returned. So to get the city and the country, you have to use the colon, then again curly brace, and inside the curly brace we need to specify the keys that we want from the object. So now we are destructuring the address object. So I will just type city and country. So let's console log them. City and country. So let's save the file. Okay, so New York and USA has been printed out because the city is New York and the country is USA. Okay, So that's how you destructure nested object. Now that we have known about object destructuring, let's learn about array destructuring. So let me just clear this code. I will paste an array here. So this is our array, which is called albums, and this array is storing some strings. And the way you do array destructuring is same as object destructuring with little bit difference. So again, const. So instead of curly braces, you need to use square brackets. Then from albums. Now you need to remember one thing, that arrays have order, but the JavaScript objects doesn't have any order. So to destructure an array, you have to maintain the order of the items. So if you want to get the first item, which is lover, you just type whatever variable name you want, because arrays doesn't have any keys, so you can choose whatever variable name you want here. So I will just call it lover, and I will just console.log lover, and you can see lover has been printed out on the console. If you want to get the second item, you can just type whatever variable name you want here. You can call it evermore, or you can call it ever. That will still work fine. So I will print ever. Okay, so lover and evermore has been printed out. Now, what if you want only the third item of the array? So in here it is called red. To do that, you have to skip the previous elements. So we have to skip these two strings, then we have to get the third item. To do that, it is fairly simple. You have to use comma to skip previous elements. So I want to skip the first item, so a comma. Then I also want to skip the second item, then again comma. Now I want to get the third item, and now I need to use a variable name. I will call it red. So I will print out red here. So save the file. Okay, so red has been printed out. So this is how you skip elements in an array. Now let me show you another use case where destructuring really shines. So if you want to create a new array from the albums array, but you want to skip the first item of the albums array. So you want to create a new array with the last three items. The basic approach would be just use a for loop or any kind of loop. But with destructuring, it is very, very simple. So you just have to skip the first item, which is lover. So we have to use one comma. Then you have to use the rest parameter, which is just 3 dots. Now I'm going to create a video about rest parameters in future. So subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss the video. So after typing the 3 dots, you have to give a variable name where you want to store the new array. I will call it albums2. Now if I just print out albums2, let's see. So a new array has been printed out without the first item, which is lover. So it has the last 3 items. It was very simple, right? And yes, you can also do this with object. Okay, so let me just paste the previous object. I will delete this console log. Okay, so this is the same object as before. Now what if you want to create a new object from the names object, but excluding only the shown property? You can do this with destructuring. So again, const, then curly braces. Now you want to skip shown, right? So just type shown. And then you have to use the rest parameter again. So 3 dots. Then just give the variable name where you want to store the object. I will call it names2. And we want to destructure from names object. So let's console.log names2. So let's save the file. And now you can see that this object is almost same as before without the shown property. Okay, so that's how you skip elements and create a new object. Another use case could be swapping elements inside the array. So let me show you. I will delete all of this code. So let's create 2 variables. Let a will be 1, then let b will be 2. So let's swap these variables with destructuring. So I will create a new array, so a and b, and I will destructure this array. So again, square brackets from this array. Now the first item of this array is a and the second item is b, and inside the square brackets I can just type b and a. These 2 variables a and b are reassigned B is now storing the value of A and A is storing the value of B. So just to show you, I will console log the two variables, console.log A and B. So let's save the file. Okay, so we have some problem. Prettier has just messed up with my code. So I have to use a semicolon at the end of B so that Prettier doesn't mess up with my code. So let's save the file again. And now you can see the variable A is storing the value 2. Previously it was storing 1. And the variable B is storing 1. Previously it was storing 2. And that's how it works. And that's how you swap variables with JavaScript destructuring. Super easy, right? So let's finally see how we can destructure where arrays and objects are nested. Alright, so I have the previous Taylor object now, but with a new property called albums, and this is storing our albums array. So let's destructure this object. I want to get the name, age, city, and the lover string from the albums array. So here's how to do it. So again, const, then curly braces from Taylor. Now first I want the name, I want the age, I want the city. So city is inside address. So again, address. And from the address, I want to destructure city. Now let's get the lover string from the albums array. So again, albums, which will return me the albums array. And now I need to use the square brackets. And I just want to get the first string, which is lover. Let's create another array with all of these elements except the first one. So use the rest parameter, ... then give you a variable name. I will just call it rest. Okay, so let's console log them. Console.log. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variables. So console.log. I will copy this 4 more times. So console.log name, age, then city, then lover, then rest. So let's save the file and see. And now you can see the result. We have the name, age, city, then the first album name, and we have a new array with all of the items except the first one. So this is how you use JavaScript destructuring. It was super easy, right? So that's it for this video. If the video has been helpful for you, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. It really motivates me to create more content just like this. If you have any question, please comment down below. Follow me on any social media as thatonjon, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.